Hello and welcome to the Autocar Show. Now, whenever that car is in the office, there's always a fight for the keys. And it's really been the story with the Duster all over India. It's the one that's actually scripted the success story of Renault. Well, it's had a free run for a whole year now because there's been really no competitor around.
Yes, but the car that's behind you, the Ford EcoSport, that's the one that's really chasing the Duster up right now. We waited a long time for it to come, but it's here finally. It's been launched and it's ready to take the Duster on.
Well, we've got to put them together and find out which one is the winner.
The differences are visible at the outset, with the Duster looking like the practical, sensible, utility-oriented one, whilst the EcoSport comes across as sassy and stylish. Both cars have the underpinnings from saloons, with the body and mechanics subtly altered to take on SUV-like duties. The Duster on its part looks balanced and well-proportioned, and for the less flashy, it's a more simple and subdued design. But if it's looks you're after, then the EcoSport will be the one to appeal to you, with the in-your-face grille, tail-mounted spare wheel, and cladding that runs around the car. But parked alongside the Duster, it definitely looks a whole size smaller. In looking a size smaller, the EcoSport holds the trump card here. Unlike the Duster, the EcoSport measures a millimeter less than 4 meters, qualifying for the small car X-size SOPs.
So Karthik, these prices of the EcoSport have really left everyone, I think, open-mouthed. People are shocked, they were comparing it with the Duster, but it's going to cut across, I think, all kinds of cross-sections of cars.
I think one of the things was that the size of the EcoSport being under 4 meters was going to give it a price advantage. I mean, we expected Ford to use it as much as possible. But I think
no one knew it would be this much.
Yeah, exactly. And on another front, I think that is an advantage that they've played out to the max, but the other front is space. How things will pan out there, we should.
Well, exactly. To begin with, I mean, we have the top-end 84 bhp Duster, because that's the closest match to this 1.5 litre 90 bhp engine. But the difference in price for the 84 bhp Duster with sat-nav
It's still pretty
to
massive.
the titanium option with the option pack is a whole 2 lakh almost there. Difference. Now that's a huge amount of money. That's a nano in difference. Yeah. So I think it's put the Duster on a bit of a back foot. But like you said, there are other attributes. Maybe it's worth it. We've got to put them out on the road and find out whether the Duster can make up that lost ground.
Absolutely.
Where the Duster gains ground is the rear seat.
Well, I think the initial feeling is that this cabin just feels larger. I mean, the width definitely way more than the EcoSport. And it's lighter, the window area is much more, glass area all over actually.
It just feels more airy.
Makes it feel more airy. Definitely
Spaciousness.
feels a size larger on the inside too.
But you know what, there's little hard to escape the fact that this feels a little low rent, doesn't it?
Yeah, I noticed that when, you get that tinny feel when you close the doors, and even when you're driving it, it just doesn't feel that solid.
When it comes to build quality, you can tell immediately that the Duster has cut a few corners. The lift-type door handles feel a bit flimsy. However, there is a smattering of silver, smart fabrics to lift the ambience, and the dash has been upgraded for the Indian market. On the equipment list, there's a tuned-in sat-nav equipped audio system too. However, the hard materials and the ergonomic gaffs let the Duster down. For instance, though the driver is at a good height, the driver's seat doesn't have height adjust. And for shorter people, that might pose a problem. There is no dead pedal, and the mirror power adjustment sits in a tricky place under the handbrake. You have to look down to see the sat-nav screen, which is not a great idea when you're driving. And there is no climate control.
Let's check the boot out.
Alright.
It's definitely going to be the larger one because this looks larger, and it is. I mean, just the sheer depth of it, the width, and I think loading is also going to be easier.
Yeah,
here.
considering the space, the way it's packaged, should be good. And another big plus for me is the lift-back tailgate. Makes it easier, that swings open to one side. This you don't have to think about which side you're parked on,
Absolutely. But let's go check the EcoSport out now. So since we were talking about the boot, let's get right to it. I like this push button open actually. I think it's
that's
quite
nice.
nice.
I
And
keep
it
looking
makes
for a
it
lever though, but yeah, it's nice.
heavy, easier to open because it's quite heavy, especially when you have to try closing it.
Yeah, it's got the spare wheel mounted on the tail, so it
Makes
is
it a little
extra
heavy.
heavy. Yeah.
Looks nice, but practicality not that great. The Duster wins on the space.
The EcoSport has loaded itself with a feature list good enough for cars of some classes above. The top-end version came with height seat adjust, which was missing in the Duster. It has the Ford Sync system and a safety assist that would dial a number in case of an emergency. There's climate control and some more. The dashboard looks like it's out of an airplane with all the buttons and controls. It borrows a lot from the Fiesta, and we still love the cool bits like the blue needles on the dial, the chest-out stance of the center console, the cuts and swoops that give it a lot of drama. So it looks definitely the more stylish one. But it has its faults too. The seats feel a bit narrow, especially for larger frame people. The sync system takes some getting used to, and the rear visibility is really quite dreadful. And there are a lot of hard surfaces. But then again, it's slightly better than the Duster.
There's that nice thud when you close the doors, isn't there? I mean, it
Very
just
secure
feels more
feeling.
solid. I don't know whether it's the seat, the position, but it's the way that it's built. It just feels more solid on the whole. And the interior is also the flashier, younger, hipper. You know, everything looks quite from today's world.
But couple of things, plastics, some areas really a little bit on the tacky side.
Yeah.
And visibility is a bit of an issue too, right?
Yeah, this A pillar
pillars.
is, and especially for people like me who are not too tall, even though there's a, you've got the adjustments, but
Seat
because
height,
the
yeah.
window there is really small, I'm going to be peering
That's
around
a thick
that
A-pillar, and you have the
a lot. And the dashboard is
also
high,
a bit high.
so that does hamper visibility a bit. So let's check out the back seat and see how it feels. I think as far as legroom goes, it's pretty similar.
It's
But you
surprisingly
sit
good, huh?
a little lower here.
But the under-thigh support is good.
Under
I'm
thigh support
surprised.
is really good. Window line's high, it's feeling small, it feels dark, feels hemmed in, and of course it's much narrower.
I think that really lacks us in that third-person capability.
Very tiny third person in between both of us.
Doesn't feel as airy. I think that's the other
Yeah.
thing. Two people. I
No,
think
you
they're
do feel a lot more hemmed in, and over there it feels a lot more open. But I think it's got great headroom. It's got nice headroom over here, and legroom I think is equivalent.
But in the Ford's favor are the very useful storage spaces in the cabin. Now let's see which one is more useful on the move. Under the hood, the Duster has the familiar 1.5 used across the Renault Nissan range. This version has 84 bhp with a fixed geometry turbo that makes it respond well to throttle inputs.
A good thing about the Duster's 85 bhp motor is that it's very responsive right from low revs.
The gearbox really doesn't need to be used much as the Duster ambles around in higher gears quite easily. And that's a good thing too because the clutch isn't hydraulic and is a bit too heavy. The short gearing ensures that you really don't need to flex your left foot too much. The EcoSport in contrast has more lag and power delivery is not as linear. And in the rolling acceleration runs, the Duster is quicker than the EcoSport. It's 2 seconds faster than the EcoSport in the run from 40 to 100 km per hour in 4th gear. But the EcoSport has its own advantage.
Now the EcoSport has a nice mid-range, and here's where you feel the big difference. In fact, in the flat-out acceleration, it's a second quicker to the 100 mark than the Duster, and to the 120 mark, it's a full 4 seconds quicker. So out on a highway or on a freer stretch of road, this is the one that you're going to enjoy more. Well, not only because it feels more lively, but because it's the one that you can pull all the way to the red line and rev more.
Though the Duster struggles a little more and isn't as free revving, it will get to the 140 mark and cruise rather comfortably. However, if it's fully loaded or when you need overtaking grunt, you will feel that lack of power. The EcoSport is much better insulated of the two, making the engine feel more refined, especially when revving hard.
And the steering of the EcoSport, though easy and light in the city, is the one that weighs up really nicely around the corners. It makes you feel connected to the road and you can chuck this car around the corners and have good fun with it.
That confidence goes when you hit a bad patch of road though. The stiffer front and softer rear don't allow the EcoSport to settle, and it tends to pitch and move about.
Now, when you're on a bumpy, choppy road like this, whether you're in the back seat or in the front, you will love the Duster for its suspension. It's a bit on the soft side, but it soaks up bumps and bad roads really so well, leaves you comfortable on the inside.
The Duster's advantage is highlighted all the more when you drive both cars back to back. Its calm composure gives the driver more confidence. And though the steering is heavier, the Duster's well-tuned suspension that offers great ride with pretty darn good handling is the one that pleases us more.
So there we go, the Duster performs as expected. This is a nice practical little SUV. Well, actually not little, its extra width helps it big time. In the second row, 3 people abreast, not an issue. Luggage space, really the better one here. And on rough roads, it is the more comfortable car to be in because of the ride quality. And while the engine might not have the outright pump that is there on the EcoSport, it is more drivable in stop-go traffic. And then when it comes to the interiors, the equipment may not be as much and it doesn't really have that special feeling on the inside. Now, does it? I think that's where it really does lack.
Well, that's just it. The interiors of the EcoSport feel more premium, they feel more upmarket. The exterior is more stylish too. The car's very well equipped, it's fun to drive. And the narrow cabin and lack of boot space seem insignificant when you consider the 2 whole lakhs less that you would spend on the top-end variant of the EcoSport as compared to the Duster. So, it's pretty obvious in this battle who the winner really is.
I'm standing here, aren't I now?
Well, I think Karthik definitely agrees and he's off with me in the winner.